Sanbonani Kamagwini. I hope Niapila, I hope you're all well. I wanted us to take a look, a retrospective walk through the last 7 years of Uranus in Taurus and what that means for us personally, yes, but also as a country. South Africa has a Taurus sun, and it's conjunct Mercury. So it's very significant. It's a very significant period for our country, and I'd like to look at the events that have coincided with Uranus and Taurus. So I'm going to break down the significations, of course, of Uranus as well as Taurus, and then we're going to look at that in relation to the South African chart, as well as the events that happened in South Africa, what that means, and what we can expect now that that's going to change in 2026. So if you're new, I am Usne Makosi Dlamini, and I am an astrologer. I'm based in South Africa, and I am not a world astrologer. So just to make that clear, I'm not a world astrologer. I do not do mundane astrology. What I do is natal astrology, but I like to observe what happens in the world under certain skies, because eventually I want to switch over to mundane, or at least give myself the option to switch over to mundane astrology as I get older and maybe even deeper into politics. We'll see. I don't know. So I want to make that very clear. I'm not predicting anything. These are just my observations and my what is it like? I'm envisioning the meme of that person who's connecting the dots. Yeah, this is me connecting the dots, analyzing using the language that astrology has given me so that I can understand the world. I found that through the instability that has happened over the past five years, because I started with astrology back in 2014, but it wasn't until 2020 wasn't until 2020 where I started taking it seriously and started using it to understand the world around me. You remember that's when COVID happened and everything changed, and astrology was able to explain that. And as an overthinker, I find great comfort in being able to break things down and understand what exactly is happening, what's coming, what's, because conspiracy theories are one thing, but I also like to see the most likely, the most reasonable, the most logical, even though sometimes even astrology shows that things go beyond reason, but it does help give me some sort of comfort to understand. So I hope I'm able to give that to you as well today. Now, you might hear a lot of background noise, and that's because my windows are open. My windows are open because I need some fresh air. It feels like I'm by the beach when the cars keep driving by, and I miss living by the beach, so I'm just gonna take it. I wish I had a way to record this outdoors, maybe on a rooftop, under the stars and the moon directly. One day, who knows? Anyway, let's get started. Of course, in true Mercury retrograde fashion, my laptop shut down while I was recording, so I have to record this somewhere else because it's literally now or never. So I switched over to my phone real quick in case you have a difference in how I sound now versus how I sounded a bit earlier. Anyway, so Uranus first entered Taurus in May 2018, and then again March 2019, up until this year, July. So the past 7 years, right? and how much has changed in our lives in the past 7 years. How much? It's actually it's actually terrifying if you think about it, because COVID just, yeah. So Uranus has spent the past 7 years shaking up everything that is ruled by Taurus, which is money, the economy, self-worth, all types of value, stability, comfort, material resources, natural resources, land, food, values, diplomatic relations. That is a lot for a country to deal with. It is, I mean, South Africa has the Sun Mercury conjunction in Taurus, and that's because of when the country was or changed to a democracy. That happened right in the middle of Taurus season. And as you know, South Africa is very rich in minerals, it's very rich in natural resources. The past 7 years, we've seen quite a few shocking things over the past 7 years, and we'll go through them now. So the fact that the sun for South Africa, and South Africa's chart, the sun is in Taurus, it means that the heart, the core of South Africa was formed around its natural resources. I don't know what that means for the politics of that time, or I'd rather just not get into that. But of course, everyone wants to have a piece of the pie. So it makes sense if you think about, they wanted to keep the peace because they want to still be able to access South Africa's resources. And destabilizing the country with war kind of defeats that purpose, if they're not benefiting from that war, that is. So the sun is the national identity. It is the heart of the country. It is the leadership, so the government as well. And in Taurus, we have then Taurus in the context of a country. We are looking at natural resources, agriculture and land, mining, financial stability, the economy, economic foundation, stability, security, sustainability, continuity, diplomacy. But when Uranus comes and crosses the sun, what does it bring? Disruption, liberation, breakthroughs, revelations, shocks, innovation, sudden restructuring, rebellion. Mercury, on the other hand, is more about commerce and communications, trade, transport, public discourse. In Taurus, Mercury is concerned about material things, the practical material things. What is of worth? What is of value? What is worth it? Okay, and that has to do with things like trade policies. That's where they come through. International relations, national messaging, infrastructure, negotiations, banking systems. So when Uranus crosses Mercury, we can expect crises in communication, unexpected news being delivered, causing a crisis, sudden pivots, shifts in the public narrative, sudden news events, breaking news type of things, breakdowns and reinventions of logistical systems, new financial technologies, that's the innovation, policy shocks, and diplomatic surprises. And what did we see? over the past 7 years. Guys, it's actually crazy when you look at how this exactly mirrors what was happening in South Africa. So we got load shedding escalation during this period. Now, I am researching, so I'll be reading some at some point, so just bear with me. Load shedding started in 2007. That was the first time we had load shedding. And then the second period was from 2014 to 2015. And then the third period, which is when we got stage 4, was from 2019. From February 2019 to March 2019. Isn't that wild? And then we just kept getting it. 2019, again, December, March 2021, until 2024 this time, which was pretty long. That lasted a long time. And then we also got logistical failures, right? That includes Transnet, includes the ports, includes the rails. So there's an article here from Mail and Garden. It says Transnet has consistently floundered in its operations since Derby's tenure. Transnet railed 226 million tons in 2018, the last year of Gama's tenure, and has steadily declined ever since. Since 2018, like, it's insane. Like, the astrology is wild to witness as it unfolds on its own. And the ports, there's an article here in Shepston Wiley Attorneys, so under their website, it says South African ports hit by labor go slow. This was 2019 July, hampering operations, including ship movements, over a dispute of payment of bonuses, a Taurean theme. And then the rail system. Then early 2019, there was an accident involving trains. They were on the same line and they collided, and a bunch of people died. It was awful. Then following that, we see more government officials talking about improving the railways and noticing just how bad the railway system is. So even though the accident happened between that short period when Uranus had went back into Aries, after it went direct, we saw a bit more focus on the railway system. And over the years, I do feel like there is some improvement in the railway system, especially as someone who has used it before. I also found an article, April 2019, about the Gautrain, where they released their plan, their expansion plan for Gautrain. The GMA releases, so the Gautrain Management Agency. They said they're setting out to expand in 3 categories by unlocking development. So that means new stations at Modderfontein, Samrand and Waterfall, as well as the commercialization of Centurion and Marlborough stations. I'm not sure if by Modderfontein they mean the Rhodesfield station, because if not, then I haven't seen a station in Modderfontein. The commercialization of Centurion and Marlborough stations, I don't know what that means. Is that about the fact that you can renew your license there? I don't know, but interesting. Enhancing station access in terms of parking at Rosebank, Hatfield and Pretoria stations. Have they done that? Improving line capacity, additional rolling stock, additional depot and operator facilities, upgrades to system capacity, additional buses, and a Y-link to connect northern parts of the system directly to OR Tambo International Airport. They also plan to expand or extend their rapid rail network via construction of new tracks and stations. So the proposal is to construct 149 kilometers of new dual track and 90 new stations. Extensions to all 3 routes, but implemented in phases. Over the last 7 years, how much of this has happened? The other thing we have that is mirroring this energy is the BRICS situation. Now, in 2018, South Africa hosted BRICS in Sandton. And there was a huge focus, I remember, in the 4IR. I was in uni at the time, and it was a huge thing at UJ. I remember, I think they had a little robot already. And then there was the BRICS Partnership on New Industrial Revolution that was proposed at the 2018 summit by President Xi Jinping. So this partnership is dedicated to 6 things. Strengthening policy coordination in the context of new industrial revolution, enhancing human resource cooperation on cutting-edge tech and skills, promoting exchanges and cooperation and digitalization. You get the gist. It's very techy, very innovative, very Uranus. There's been quite a few significant things happening. There's actually quite a lot of exciting tech things happening if you're paying attention here in SA. The other thing was the growth of digital banking over the past 7 years. This is insane because I found this article talking about Time Bank and how it grew. It says here during their first week of opening in November 2018, they signed up and continue to set trends in an industry that once had a handful of players with brick and mortar branches. So Time Bank is very Uranian. Whoever started it must be very Aquarian, or at least have some strong Uranus in their chart. Okay, so this at the beginning it says this year saw a shift in the banking system with the launch of Time Bank, one of South Africa's innovative digital banks. Hello Uranus in Taurus, because money. African Rainbow Capital, a fully black-owned and controlled investment company, is Time Bank's majority shareholder, which makes Time Bank the first majority black-owned retail bank in South Africa. In September 2018, the bank announced that they had been granted a license by the South African Reserve Bank, which makes this a first since the license was granted in 1999. That's pretty amazing. And that fits the Uranian quality of genius, of doing something different, of rebelling, of being the first, of liberating, taking a different path. In that same article, it says, banking in South Africa will see a massive shift in 2019 with Bank Zero and Discovery Bank also ramping up their services. The digital banking era is coming into play in a way that will increase competition for the incumbents, where the fast pace of innovation in the industry will change the face of banking in South Africa. Amazing stuff. There's also lots of resource sector policy tension. Okay, the land issue has simply skyrocketed over the past 7 years, with some people maybe changing their stances. It's been complicated. There's also rapid shifts in our international stance. For example, filing for the ICJ definitely changed South Africa's image which is a sun thing. It definitely changed South Africa's image on an international scale. Now, Uranus hitting both the Sun and Mercury in Taurus, we get a national identity crisis and reinvention. So South Africa is reinventing who it is on a global stage. Maybe even trying to figure out who is it now, 20 years after democracy. There were elections in 2018, and I think that was the first time the ANC significantly lost votes, but still maintained the majority. And over the years, their support has gotten even worse. So Taurus also rules like Mother Nature itself, like the actual earth. And there's been a lot of changes in the climate which affect, of course, the actual land. And while South Africa is not a stranger to flooding, over the past years, it has been getting worse. And that is, of course, due to climate change. And for us, that coincides with Uranus in Taurus. Uranus being sudden, unexpected things, right? Shockers and devastators and destabilizers. And the floods have been exactly that. They've been horrible. We've also seen resource-based upheaval. Okay. And that being, of course, the collapse of Eskom, the mining industry scandals, the restructuring, the pressure to transition to renewables. There's been theft and corruption, instability in resource-rich sectors, debate over land, water, agriculture, shortages, financial instability, overall the rand fluctuation. Over the past 7 years, the rand fluctuation. Credit rating pressure. Sudden policy announcements that affect markets. Diplomatic unpredictability. Sudden foreign policy shifts. Trade realignment. This is significant because Uranus really does bring once-in-a-lifetime shocks. Because it lasts 84 years. The transit lasts 84 years. It takes 84 years. So Uranus won't be back in Taurus for the next 84 years. Which also means we haven't experienced this Uranus in Taurus since 84 years ago. That was 1940s, World War II era. And that's really when the country's global identity and politics were also undergoing a profound shift. So it's a huge identity and economic restructuring period. The 2018 to 2025 has been a national turning point. Now Uranus is back in Taurus for its final lap to touch up what hasn't been resolved, what hasn't been allowing change to happen, what's been blocking change to happen. And part of that is mirrored through the shutdown that we're seeing, the Women for Change shutdown for or against GBV. It's so aligned because Taurus is, a Venus rule sign, so it represents women. And right now, we have Taurus coming back. We have Uranus coming back into Taurus, Uranus being the energy of rebelling, of striking, of speaking out, of fighting back, of pulling away, of revealing, of shocking, of disrupting, right? And as it hits Taurus while Venus is in Scorpio, it is exposing those things that are underneath. It's saying, you know what, we're tired of not speaking about, of pretending that this is not a problem. We're tired of sweeping it under the rug. Let's talk about it. It's exposing what is beneath the surface. It's exposing what's a pain point for us as a country. Remember, we're looking at the chart of South Africa. So Scorpio does represent those wounds, those things that we don't really like to talk about because they may be a sore point. And so this is one of those things for South Africa, casting a shadow over the country. And I do want to stop here and say, this is not about people who have Scorpio placements. The energy will work differently with people because you have more planets and signs within you. This is pure energy that is not mixed with any other energy that I'm speaking of when I'm talking about Scorpio. I always run into problems when I'm talking about Scorpio, but please remember we're talking about the things that are represented in the world using astrology. And the world has some ugly things. They have to be represented by something. Okay? I'm not saying Scorpio only represents bad things. No. Just saying it's one of those signs that can see through the bullshit. And unfortunately, when you can see through the bullshit, you have to carry that burden. You have to carry the burden of being able to see where no one else can see, of wanting to talk where no one else wants to talk. And so that can be heavy. That can be a lot of topics that are usually shunned or considered taboo. And one of those topics is gender-based violence. It's sexual harassment and assault. It's obsession to the point of harm. It's, energy that is vengeful, controlling, manipulative in its shadow. Because in its flip side, Scorpio energy can be magnetic, mesmerizing, deeply transformative, profound, moving you on a core level. It's really, really beautiful energy if you know how to work with it. And so right now, we're seeing the women fighting back and saying, we demand a change. We demand this thing to be put into the spotlight. We demand you stop looking away. We demand that you treat us as something of value, as an asset, as a resource. And it ties into what I was talking about on Twitter about how Taurus is our natural resources and also value. And this full moon has showed us what we've been undervaluing. And the women of this country have not been valued. We're not being valued when the people in power refuse to listen, when we are crying out for help, for being persecuted, assaulted, everything you can think of under the sun, every 2.5 hours. That's ridiculous. We don't feel safe anywhere as women. So of course we have been undervalued, and we are taking a stand to say, you know what, we want change. We need change to happen now. And this destabilizing happening in Taurus, while South Africa has the sun in Taurus, while the G20 is happening, absolutely likely to affect the country's reputation. So it's happening at the best time. And I see it gaining global traction because it's also on social media. So international eyes are already seeing this situation. And while I'm not sure that we're going to see change right now, I do believe that it's a great start. And the reason I'm saying I'm not sure we're going to see change right now is because so many planets are retrograde. And yes, that can mean things coming back from the past so we can deal with it now. It also comes with a whole lot of delays, a whole lot of people being in and out, changing their minds, plans being cancelled. And so there's that part of me that's like, I don't know. And also next year, the nodes move into Leo and Aquarius, which is significant because the Battle of Isandlwana, very significant battle in South Africa, happened under an Aquarius eclipse. Next year, we get one of those. We get one of those while Uranus is in Gemini. Why is this significant? Uranus, rebelling, liberating, striking, standing out. Gemini, the youth. Youth are fed up, they're tired. They can successfully band together, which I believe the North Node in Aquarius will give us the power to be able to do that. Or at least the push, the hunger, the drive to say we need to mobilize as in yesterday. So I understand the urgency. We all want change now. But I also believe that all of this is leading up to that one big moment where nothing will be the same for sure after that. And I hope we can take this time to plan our moves carefully, strategically, so that we can mobilize successfully with the clear mandate as one solid collective. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed doing it more than I expected. I hope to do more of these. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.